Hello again and welcome back to our course on PSE 15. In this section we're going to look at keyboard shortcuts. If you've used keyboard shortcuts in PSE before, or if you don't use keyboard shortcuts, have no intention of using keyboard shortcuts, then you can certainly skip this section. For some people, keyboard shortcuts are either their preferred way of using desktop software, or for some people, due to accessibility issues, they may need to use keyboard shortcuts. So it's very important to know how to find out what keyboard shortcuts are available in PSE 15. One way of determining keyboard shortcuts, as I've already pointed out, is that if you click on a menu and look at a list of menu items, many of them will have keyboard shortcuts. And I know that some of you who like to use keyboard shortcuts will probably be memorizing these as we go. I have great trouble remembering quite so many keyboard shortcuts, especially as I use many other pieces of software in a typical working day as well. But if you're good at remembering them, many of the most often used commands in PSE have keyboard shortcuts, and you can see them there on the menu system. If you want to get a list of keyboard shortcuts, there are a couple of ways of doing it. One way of doing it is to go into the help system. So if I click on help, I'm going to choose key concepts, and one of the advantages of choosing that option is it gets me into help to a page with a search facility, and I'm just going to type in here keyboard shortcuts. Enter. And there you can see Photoshop Elements keyboard shortcuts. So let me click on that. And there I have Photoshop Elements Help keyboard shortcuts. Now you may have noticed when I clicked on the link it said 2015. But in fact this is the updated list for 2016. You can see the update date here. And if I choose one of these, such as keys for using text, click on that. It takes me to a table that explains the keyboard shortcuts for working with text for both Windows and Mac. Another source of information concerning keyboard shortcuts is the pair of PDF files that by now you should have downloaded. By the way, if you couldn't figure out how to actually download them, you should be able to open them on the Adobe website. All you need to do is to open them and then use this Save button, and that will save a copy of the file onto your device. If you open the Organizer Help and click on Find, if you search for keyboard shortcuts, it doesn't actually do you very much good. There are a couple of entries there, keyboard shortcuts, but it only talks about the fact that you can use keyboard shortcuts without actually telling you what they are. So I'm going to do a new search here, and instead of keyboard shortcuts, I'm going to type in keys, click on search, and for instance here you have keys for viewing photos, Elements Organizer. Takes me to an item in contents there. I could keep on searching, or if I do a control click in contents, it takes me to the relevant page, and there we have keys for viewing photos, Elements Organizer, and it gives you the shortcut in Windows and the shortcut in Mac for each of these operations concerning viewing photos. You've then got things like keys for editing photos, etc. So although these are a little bit hidden, that's where you find the keyboard shortcuts for the Organizer. Let's go now to Photoshop Elements Editor, and in the PDF for the editor there's Chapter 15, and Chapter 15 is dedicated to keyboard shortcuts. And as you can see, there are many keyboard shortcuts in the Photoshop Elements Editor. And finally, back at the Photoshop Elements Help page that we looked at earlier, there is an entry here, keyboard shortcuts. It says they do make life easier. And there is a list of the categories of keyboard shortcut. So for instance, using blending modes, if I click on that, it takes me to the help topic, keys for using blending modes. That's the end of this section. I'll see you in the next one.